everyone, let me introduce myself to all of you. I am Ria Sandora. My student number is B1024191001. I am the student of Management International class at Universitas Tanjungpura. In this semester, I take Human Resource Management and my lecturer is Sir Adi Mursalin. On this good occasion, I would like to answer the HRM midterm quiz. Well, my dear audience, watch me and listen to me carefully. Now, I would like to answer the questions on part A. Let's jump to the question. I always attend HRM classes every Tuesday morning and have never been absent, which is in total 7 meetings because I feel HRM is very important for me both as a student and also for my self-development as a human resource itself. If I skip the class, it will be detrimental for me because I miss the useful human resource management material. Until now, I have never missed a human resource management class. I'm always present every week and on time. This is because I think HRM is an important course for now and for my future. So I have to really understand HRM. For that, I cannot miss the class to get new knowledge and new insight every week. The title of the HRM book used in Learning HRM is a Handbook of Human Resource Management Practice, 10th edition by Michael Armstrong. This book tells me a lot, starting from the most basic, which is Introduction to Human Resource Management, to the deeper HR material. I was thought about what HRM is to the application of HRM in everyday life and especially in the world of work. This book has a total of 59 chapters, which are divided into 12 main parts. So far, I have studied 12 chapters from my group presentation and my classmates' presentation. The first part about managing people consists of 6 chapters, namely from chapter 1 to chapter 6. Chapter 1 is titled Human Resource Management, where this first chapter begins with an introduction to the definition of HRM, systems, HR application models, objectives, and characteristics of HRM. The point is that this chapter still introduces the basic point of HRM. Chapter 2 is entitled Human Capital Management. This chapter discusses human capital management, starting from the notion that is concerned with obtaining and then analyzing and reporting on data that informs the direction of value-adding people management, strategic investment and operational decisions at corporate level and at the level of frontline management. It also explained the concept, strategy, and application of human capital management in managing people. Moreover, this chapter also discusses the relationship between human capital management and human resource management. And the next, chapter 3, is entitled Role of the HR Function. From this chapter, I learned a lot about how the HR function plays a big role in managing and developing people in a company or an organization, as well as how to organize and staff the HR function so that the performance of human resources in an organization can be maximized. Chapter 4, entitled The Role of the HR Practitioner, discusses what HR professionals do and how they do it. This chapter starts with an analysis of the basic roles and activities of HR professionals and of the various models of these roles, also concludes with a discussion of the competencies required by HR practitioners. Chapter 5 is titled Role of the Frontline Manager. Chapter 5 discusses an analysis of frontline managers' roles generally and the people management responsibilities particularly. It continues with an examination of the respective roles of HR and line management and a discussion of the line manager's role in implementing HR. At the end, this chapter concludes with suggestions on how to improve frontline managers as people managers. Chapter 6 is entitled International HRM. Different from previous chapters, Chapter 6 discusses matters related to the international world, where activities are carried out such as employing, developing, and rewarding people in international or global organizations. Part 2 about HRM process consists of 7 chapters starting from the chapter 7 to chapter 13. Chapter 7, entitled Strategic HRM, discusses the concept of strategic HRM, followed by expositions of its aims and approaches, since the development of HR strategies is important to enable the organization to achieve its goals. And the chapter 8 is entitled HR Strategies. This is the chapter that me and my group are presenting. Actually, this chapter is a continuation of the previous chapter, chapter 7, about strategic HR. In this chapter, it is explained about the meaning of HR strategies, the purpose of HR strategies, the distinction between strategic HRM and HR strategies, types of HR strategies with examples, also the criteria for an effective HR strategy. Next is chapter 9, entitled Developing and Implementing HR Strategies. Starts its explanation by giving general consideration to the development process, setting out various propositions and describing the levels of strategic decision making. Then, in chapter 10, entitled HRM Policies, explains what should and shouldn't be done in HR. In other words, this chapter discusses the guidelines for implementing HR in an organization. After that, chapter 11, entitled Competency-Based HRM, taught me about using the concept of competency and the results of competency analysis to inform and improve the processes of performance management, recruitment and selection, employee development, and employee reward. And then finally, in chapter 12, entitled Knowledge Management, talks about storing and sharing the wisdom, understanding, and expertise accumulated in an organization, about its processes, techniques, and operations. Basically, it treats knowledge as a key resource. Therefore, we can conclude that the chapters in this Human Resource Management Practice book are interrelated and interconnected to one another, and I got new insight about HRM from the basis to another level of HRM. The answer is yes. During the Human Resource Management lesson, I was active in asking and answering questions from friends who were presenting, and I also active in answering questions from Sir Adi. I remember asking and giving questions to group 1, 4, 5, 10, and 12. This means that at every meeting, I am active in the presentation of my other classmates, and I have also answered some questions from Sir Adi, namely the meaning of the frontline managers and also the task of frontline managers. So there are 12 groups that have appeared and presented chapter 1 to 12. I learned a lot from their presentation because each group explained completely and in detail, from understanding to conclusion. From all of the presentations, I understand more about HRM. At first, I thought HRM was only about employing people, but apparently there are still many tasks and things that an HR manager needs to do. Meanwhile, from my own presentation, I presented chapter 8 about human resource strategies. This material gives me a new understanding that in HR also requires the right strategy, not only when selecting employees, but also strategies in placing employees so that HR in an organization can run optimally. For me, yes, I'm interested to take HRM as my concentration because I think HRM is one of the branches of management that is very good for personal development, not only for developing myself, but also for developing other people. Without a good HRM, it is as if the foundation of the company is not strong. Okay, so I have answered all the questions on part A, and now I want to answer the questions on part B. Let's see the questions. From the first expert story, he believes that HRM can be regarded as a set of interrelated policies with an ideological and philosophical underpinning, which means that the activities in HRM is connected from one to another. The second expert is Edwin Filippo that defines human resource management as planning, organizing, directing, controlling of procurement, development, compensation, integration, maintenance, and separation of human resources to the end that individual, organizational, and social objectives are achieved. Third, according to Desenso and Robbins, HRM is concerned with people dimensions in management. And fourth, according to French Wendell, human resource management is the recruitment, selection, development, utilization of, and accommodation to human resources by organizations. And the last expert, the fifth, according to Gary Dessler, human resource management is the process of acquiring, training, appraising, and compensating employees, and attending to their labor relations, health, safety, and fairness concerns. Okay, so that's the definition from experts. However, in my opinion, human resource management or HRM is the governance of an organization's employees. It means that it is a process that will manage people in a company or an organization in a defined and structured way. The HR is supposed to do staffing, hiring people, retention of employees, managing pays and perks and setting them, performance management, also managing the changes, and many more. So, the future role of the HR function is to enable the organization to achieve its objectives by taking initiatives and providing guidance and support on all matters relating to its employees. The basic aim is to ensure that the organization develops HR strategies, policies, and practices that cater effectively for everything concerning the employment and development of people and the relationships that exist between management and the workforce. The HR function can play a major part in the creation of an environment that enables people to make the best use of their capacities and to realize their potential to the benefit of both the organization and themselves. Human resources policies are important for a company. First, as they provide structure, control, consistency, fairness, and reasonableness in a company. Second, HR policies ensure every employee of an organization is looked after, their needs are respected, and proper benefits are made available to them for their work. And then third, HR policies help to address complaints, problems, and grievances of employees and outline how to solve them appropriately. And then next, they help to protect employees from the ramifications of colleagues' poor behavior and even from the organization itself. They also help to train and develop employees who are consistent with the needs of the organization, and then helps the employees to receive adequate and fair compensation, and next to help maintain discipline in the workplace, and last but not least, they provide paid vacations and holidays to eligible employees. Strategy has been defined by Johnson and Scholes as the direction and scope of an organization over the longer term, which ideally matches its resources to its changing environment and in particular to its markets, customers, and clients to meet stakeholder expectations. It means that strategy determines the direction in which the organization is going in relation to its environment. It is the process of defining intentions or strategic intent and allocating or matching resources to opportunities and needs or resource-based strategy. Business strategy is concerned with achieving competitive advantage. The effective development and implementation of strategy depends on the strategic capability of the 7 organizations' managers. The fundamental aim of strategic HRM is to generate a perspective on the way in which critical issues relating to people can be addressed. It enables strategic decisions to be made that have a major and long-term impact on the behavior and success of the organization by ensuring that the organization has the skilled, committed, and well-motivated employees it needs to achieve a sustained competitive advantage. Its rationale is the advantage of having an agreed and understood basis for developing approaches to people management in the longer term by providing a sense of direction in an often turbulent environment. As Dyer and Holler remark, strategic HRM should provide unifying frameworks which are at once broad, contingency-based, and integrative. So basically, there are two basic types of HR strategies, which are overarching strategies and specific strategies relating to the different aspects of human resource management. First, I will explain about overarching HR strategies. It describes the general intentions of the organization about how people should be managed and developed. What steps should be taken to ensure that the organization can attract and retain the people it needs. Also, ensure so far as possible that employees are committed, motivated, and engaged. They are likely to be expressed as broad brush statements of aims and purpose that set the scene for more specific strategies. The second type of HR strategies is specific HR strategies set out what the organization intends to do in areas such as, first, talent management, which means how the organization intends to win the war for talent. Second, continuous improvement, which means providing for focused and continuous incremental innovation sustained over a period of time. Third, knowledge management, which means creating, acquiring, capturing, sharing, and using knowledge to enhance learning and performance. Fourth, resourcing, which means attracting and retaining high-quality people. Fifth, learning and developing, which means providing an environment in which employees are encouraged to learn and to develop. Sixth, reward, which means defining what the organization wants to do in the longer term to develop and implement reward policies, practices, and processes that will further the achievement of its business goals and meet the needs of its stakeholders. Seventh, employee relations, which means defining the intentions of the organization about what needs to be done and what needs to be changed in the ways in which the organization manages its relationship with employees and their trade unions. In my opinion, competency is the capability to apply or use a set of related knowledge, skills, and abilities required to successfully perform critical work functions or tasks in a defined work setting. Meanwhile, competency framework is defined as the behavioral competencies used in the whole or part of an organization. It provides the basis for the use of competencies in such areas as recruitment, employee development, and reward. The importance of competency framework at workplace can be seen from the impacts to the work quality. The application of competencies to appraisal, training, and other personnel processes will help to increase the performance of employees. Second, that competencies provide a means of articulating corporate values so that their requirements can be embodied in HR practices and be readily understood by individuals and teams within the organization. Other reasons include the use of competencies as a means of achieving cultural change and of raising skill levels. That's why competency framework is very important to be applied at any workplace. In order to develop competency framework, we need 10 steps. Step 1, program launch, by deciding on the purpose of the framework and the HR processes for where it will be used. Step 2, involvement and communication. It involves line managers and employees in the design of the framework, stages 3 and 4, by setting up a task force. Also, communicate the objectives of the exercise to staff. Step 3, framework design using competency list. First, get the task force to draw up a list of the core competencies and values of the business, what it should be good at doing, and the values it believes should influence behavior. Step 4. Framework design using definition of competencies. Care needs to be exercised to ensure that definitions are clear and unambiguous and that they will serve their intended purpose. Step 6. Test the framework by gauging the reactions of a balanced selection of line managers and other employees to ensure that they understand it and believe that it is relevant to their roles. Also, pilot test the framework in live situations for each of its proposed applications. Step 7. Finalize the framework by amending the framework as necessary, following the test, and prepare notes for guidance on how it should be used. Step 8. Communicate. Let everyone know the outcome of the project, such as what the framework is, how it will be used, and how people will benefit. Group briefings and any other suitable means should be used also. And step 9, train. So, give line managers and HR staff training in how to use the framework. And the last step, step 10, monitor and evaluate. So, we monitor and evaluate the use of the framework and amend it as required. So, Blackler notes that knowledge is multifaceted and complex, being both situated and abstract, implicit and explicit, distributed and individual, physical and mental, developing and static, verbal and encoded. While knowledge management is any process or practice of creating, acquiring, capturing, sharing, and using knowledge wherever it resides to enhance learning and performance in an organization. There are two types of knowledge, namely explicit and tacit knowledge. Explicit knowledge can be codified as it is recorded and available and is held in databases, in corporate intranets, and intellectual property portfolios. Meanwhile, tacit knowledge exists in people's minds. It is difficult to articulate in writing and is acquired through personal experience. The main challenge in knowledge management is how to turn tacit knowledge into explicit knowledge. So, how about the purpose and significance of knowledge management? As explained by Blake, the purpose of knowledge management is to capture a company's collective expertise and distribute it to wherever it can achieve the biggest payoff. This is in accordance with the resource-based view of the firm, which, as argued by Grant, suggests that the source of competitive advantage lies within the firm, which are its people and their knowledge, not in how it positions itself in the market. Knowledge management is about getting knowledge from those who have it to those who need it in order to improve organizational effectiveness. In the information age, knowledge rather than physical assets or financial resources is the key to competitiveness. In essence, as pointed out by Mecklenburg et al., knowledge management allows companies to capture, apply, and generate value from their employees' creativity and expertise. Well, my friends, that's all my answer for part B. Now I would like to answer the questions on part C related to the videos. Let's see. Yes, I have watched the full video of the first video titled HRM Drama Project Luvia vs. the Lunar with the duration of 34 minutes and 19 seconds. This video tells about the human resource management in two different companies that have two different perspectives. It tells about two friends, Taliu and Kairi. Taliu has an outgoing personality and has many friends and is liked by many people, while Kairi focuses on her studies and making her become friendless. Therefore, when they both become HR managers in two different companies, the HR management in the two companies is also very different. Tawil is able to make employees feel comfortable by appreciating their performances and not forgetting to always say thank you. While Kairi is a very strict HR manager and doesn't even listen to her employees' suggestions. Kairi only focuses on her opinion. I found two HR managers in the video from each company. The first HR manager to introduce is Teguh Siakamarau as Taliu. The second is Rianti Ardana Reswari as Kairi. The HR manager in the video is identified because they explain the general statement of each company. Where the HR manager of Luvia has good communication, which is Taliu, while the HRM manager of Lunar Company is strict and has bad communication with her employees, which is Kairi. This video teaches me that life at university and workplace is two different things. At the university, students can choose to be active or passive and just study. But when we start working, we cannot be passive. Workplace consists of all kinds of people with various characteristics and opinions. We must not only be concerned with our egos and opinions, but we must also consider other people's opinions and build good relationships with other employees so that the atmosphere at the workplace is comfortable. The comfortable atmosphere will certainly create better performance for employees. What Kairi did in the video was wrong because Kairi as the HR manager doesn't care about the comfort and work atmosphere. She only focuses on achieving the company's target. This is what is very wrong. Company targets are indeed very important, but the comfort and happiness of employees is also important for employees to work optimally in order to achieve company targets. If I am a manager in a company, apart from achieving company targets, I will also pay attention to employees' comfort in detail. The way that I can do, for example, is by providing incentives or other gifts as a form of appreciation when employees reach targets or even exceed the targets. Actually, the form of appreciation can be started with a small thing. For example, by saying sorry when making a mistake and thank you after getting help, even the slightest help. I will also accommodate all suggestions and criticisms from employees. I will provide equal opportunities for all employees in the company to convey their suggestions or ideas. If later it turns out that their ideas or inputs are still lacking and needs to be improved, I will politely and not seem bossy to tell them. In other words, I will create an atmosphere like friends with employees. So, even though I am an HR manager, I'm not strict with the titles managers and employees. If I do, this position will create a gap between me and my employees. Therefore, I will treat them like friends, but doesn't mean to act arbitrarily. I will still consider the company rules. The second video is about the injustice that occurs in a company where the company doesn't have an HR manager. This condition makes the internal conditions of the company become chaotic, such as the domination among employees and corruption. Susie in the video assigns all of her works to other employees. She treats employees unfairly. In addition, she also corrupted company funds by working with the sales manager to reduce salesperson salaries. The problems faced by the company are internal company problems such as corruption, employee discrimination, and injustice due to the absence of an HR manager in the company. At the same time, employees' performance decreased significantly. The managers in this video can be identified through the activities they do, where they always meet with the CEO for meetings, namely Susie, Winda, and a sales manager. This video teaches us about the importance of the role of an HR manager in a company or an organization. Maybe managing employees sounds simple and easy, but in reality, it's not as easy as it thinks. In the video, the company's revenue is indeed high, as indicated by the increasing sales, but it will not last long if such conditions are allowed to continue. Therefore, the existence of HR manager should not be underestimated and cannot be replaced by other employees or managers because it can have a negative impact on employees and the company itself. Yes, I have watched this third video until it is finished. This video is titled Drama Queen with the duration of 26 minutes and 19 seconds. This video tells us about a company that is on the verge of bankruptcy, with a CEO who is arrogant and doesn't care about the welfare and the mental of its employees. When the employees made a mistake, the CEO immediately confronted them with emotion, slammed things, and yelled and scolded his employees. In addition, the salaries given to their employees are also not proportional to their jobs and dependents to live on. This then makes one of the employees choose to resign from that company and then hack the company's financial secrets to other competitors, which makes the company loses even greater. In the meeting room, there are 6 people consisting of 5 men and a woman, namely Hendy Tendra as the CEO or the owner of the company, Karin Sanjaya as the secretary, Eksan Seprian as the marketing manager, Salvatore Purwono as the operations manager, Kevin Cristianto as the financial manager, and the last is Daniel Giovanni as the human resource manager. So the managers are introduced directly at the beginning of the video, where there are a CEO and 4 managers in this company. These managers are responsible for the overall activities of their own divisions and report their development to the CEO in the meeting. So after being scolded by the CEO, they go to the restaurant for having lunch and think about the solution for the company. However, when they think about it, they feel that the fault lies on the CEO. They feel that they have tried their best, but they are not being appreciated. In addition, with a salary that is not commensurate with their job, which is heavy and full of responsibility, the salary given by the CEO to his managers is so small that they are unable to meet the needs of their families. Therefore, they all plan to find work at another company before leaving the company. So, from this third video, I learned a lot that the one who creates comfort for employees is not only an HR manager, but the CEO or owner of the company itself is also responsible for it. So they must have HR skills also. In other words, everyone should have HR skills. Why? Because we are human and we interact with other people every day. A CEO must be a leader, not a ruler for his employees. CEO's attitude as seen in the video, where he is very emotional and doesn't tolerate any mistake, making managers feel uncomfortable to work and at the end choose to resign. Some even hold a grudge by hacking the company's financial secret to other competitors. Therefore, it is important for all leaders in a company to be able to create comfort for employees and create a work atmosphere that is conducive to employees' self-development. Okay, so the question I answered just now is the last question in part C. So it means that we have arrived at the end of the video. But before that, I would like to deliver a little bit closing comment. So, because of human resource management subject in this 4th semester, I came to know so many things in HRM. It opens my mind that HRM is much beyond my expectation. Before, I thought HRM was just about recruiting and managing people. However, it is much more than that. We do not manage people as we want, but it must meet the guidelines and policies in HRM too. So I would like to say thank you, especially for Sir Adi for giving such a useful book and materials, also for giving general explanation for each materials every week. And I'm also greatly appreciate all my friends that have presented and give me new insight about human resource management materials every week. So, thank you everyone for watching this video and I hope to see you in another video. Bye!